The very first thing you need to know about your saxophone are the different parts. The first part of the saxophone is the neck strap, which I have here. There are many styles and brands, but most neck straps will work. Usually, it's all based on comfort. This is leather, which is a little more comfortable than some of the plastic, or not plastic, but some of the thinner strap ones that you get. Now, what you want to watch out for is some of them are so stretchy that it pull the saxophone down away from your mouth and you're unable to play well. The saxophone neck strap hooks onto the hook right back here. My hook will look a little different than mine on some saxophones. It's right above your right thumb key and right below your left thumb key. That is part of the body. The body of the instrument is the biggest portion, like so. Now, above that, you have the neck with the octave key. You also have the mouthpiece, the ligature, which is this metal portion, which holds the reed on. When you put on the neck, it's very important that you get the octave key mechanism over this portion here, which when I push the octave key, will raise it up. Make sure that this portion is over. Also, most saxophones, as you can see, right here, will have a line right underneath, and usually that's going to point right to this octave key mechanism, right underneath. Some common problems I see is if it's turned like so, or that way. And that's going to affect this octave key right here, and it won't open properly. So make sure that's lined up. Another thing I see is students do not tighten this enough. You don't want to tighten it so much you can't untighten it, but you want it so that this doesn't wiggle back and forth. If this is loose while you're playing, this can wiggle and move out of place. First thing you always want to do is make sure you wet your reed. Because a reed that is dry will not vibrate. Now on the mouthpiece, I'll take the mouthpiece in my left hand, like so. My thumb is going to help hold the reed. Now when I take my reed, there is a side with a brand. It is also the flat side. You want to put the flat side on top of the mouthpiece. You want to make sure the reed is directly in line with the tip of the mouthpiece. The reed and the line, the tip of the reed and the tip of the mouthpiece are in line. So sometimes I'll see this too high up, too far down, too far to the right, too far to the left. You want it lined up, just like so. So I'm holding the reed with my thumb, my forefinger here. Always handle by the base or the bottom. This is called the heart, right in the middle. The tip of the reed is very, very fragile. Now, if you touch the tip of the reed, there's a chance you could chip it. And once it starts chipping, that's when a reed will start to deteriorate. And over time, it will break down and it will be unusable. Most reeds will last you a very long time, as long as you take good care of them and don't let them chip. Okay, so make sure you're handling always by the base or the sides, never by the tip. Next, I take my ligature, fat side on first. The screws always face the right. Screws always to the right. Sometimes the screws are on top, sometimes they're on bottom, but they're always to the right, that way. So now that I got my reed on, my ligature on, something I see is the ligature not all the way on like so. And then students will be unable to play because the reed isn't held onto the mouthpiece properly. Need that ligature all the way on, just like so. Finally, another thing I see is when students don't tighten this portion, they just leave it on and they don't tighten it. This is actually holding the reed on. The reed vibrating against the mouthpiece is what creates the sound. So make sure this setup is done properly. Ligature is all the way on, reed is on, straight up and down, not crooked, and it's in line with the tip of the mouthpiece. Now I'll take my thumb forefinger, it's like so. And I'll put it on the mouthpiece just like that. And I'll wiggle it on. If it's hard to get on because the cork is new, you need some cork grease on there first. Just a little bit will do. And you don't need to do it a lot, maybe once or twice, just to get it started. That cork will break down, and just like mine, make it easy to get on and off. Now eventually you'll tune, you'll learn to put the mouthpiece on in the exact right spot. And depending on the warmth or cold or the humidity of the room or how long you've been playing will depend on how far in and out, but usually it'll be around the same area. Now usually you'll have a little bit of cork showing, so don't jam it all the way on there until you see no cork. Usually there's a little bit there. Okay, for me it's about 1/2 inch. Now I have the saxophone put together. Join me in my next video and let's learn to play it.